welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Matt.
And I'm Kiki.
Today we are looking at a story which I think many people know called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. So this is one of those stories that teaches you something that you need to remember and use in your life. So do you have a favorite story that teaches you a lesson, Kiki?
Actually, one of my favorite stories growing up, it is actually the story of the 12 zodiac animals.
Okay.
And it's basically about how each animal got into the order that we know of today.
Okay, so it was a race, right?
Right, it was a race. And actually, there was somebody that participated in the race as well, but did not end up becoming one of the 12 zodiac animals.
Okay.
Can you guess what animal?
Let me think. Was it a squirrel?
No.
Okay.
It was actually a cat.
Okay.
So throughout the race, the cat wanted to be the first one. And he cheated his way all throughout the race and at the end fell into the water and ended up not finishing the race and then not becoming one of the 12 zodiac animals.
Okay, so the lesson is cats are cheaters. Don't trust a cat.
Can't argue with that.
Okay.
What's your favorite story?
I always liked the ant and the grasshopper. So the ant worked hard throughout the summer and the fall to collect food so that he could have food for winter, but the grasshopper just played and was lazy and had fun. And then when winter came, the grasshopper had no food and the ant had lots of food. But luckily for the grasshopper, the ant shared with him. So the lesson is be lazy and then get someone to help you when you need help.
Or we should be nice to our friends. Okay, let's check out our story for today, The Boy Who Cried Wolf.
In a small village, there lived a young boy. His job was to take the shepherd's sheep up the hill. There they ate grass, and the boy watched them.
Hello, today we are looking at part 1 of our story, The Boy Who Cried Wolf.
So what does that mean? Does that mean there was literally a boy who every time he cried, he goes, wolf, 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 wolf? Is that what it means?
Maybe he thinks of wolves when he's sad.
Okay, well, let's take a look at our title first, okay? So here, cried is the past tense of our vocabulary word to cry, okay? To cry, usually we're thinking about when we're sad and we're very emotional and we start to have tears coming down from our eyes. But in this case, to cry can also mean to yell out or to scream out something or to say something. So sometimes when you're in some type of emergency situation, you might cry out for help, help. I'm crying out for help. So you're literally yelling for help, okay? So this is another way to use the verb cry.
So in this case, instead of crying help, this boy has cried wolf. So what is a wolf? A wolf is a large wild dog. It's a member of the dog family, and it's the largest of the dog family. And these are large dogs that live in packs, so they live in large groups together and they hunt other animals. Wolves are also found in many of these kind of stories, these old stories. So you might know Little Red Riding Hood has a wolf that is a mean wolf that tries to eat her. Also, the 3 Little Pigs. The 3 Little Pigs are afraid of the big bad wolf. So these wolves are often mean or bad characters in these kinds of stories.
Right, because the wolf, in real life, they are predators, right? So they usually eat small animals
little
and
pigs.
Little pigs or little children. So it is kind of to warn people to be careful that wolves can be dangerous, right?
All right, let's begin our story. In a small village, there lived a young boy. His job was to take the shepherd's sheep up the hill.
Okay, so a young boy lived in the village and he had a task to do every single day, which was to bring the shepherd's sheep up to a special place where they could do something. We'll get to that later. Okay, so first off, we have our vocabulary word, which is village, and it is a noun. So we've heard of cities, we've heard of towns. Of course, we also have villages. Villages are usually small areas where people would live, and they will live quite close together. They have their houses together, and usually they will work, make money, plant their agriculture or farm their animals. And it's basically a small community where people will live together. So it's usually smaller than a town. Okay. And this little boy lives in the village.
Right. And this little boy has a job to do, and that is to take the shepherd's sheep up the hill. So what is a shepherd? A shepherd is someone who takes care of sheep or who raises sheep. This comes from the word to herd sheep, as you can see in the word sheep herd or shepherd as it's become. So a shepherd is someone who herds or raises sheep.
And what does it mean to herd something?
To herd means to guide the animals around. So a herd of sheep, another noun, a herd is a group of animals like sheep or animals that travel in large groups. So to herd them means to move this group around. So to move from one place to another. In this case, we could say that the young boy is herding the sheep to the top of the hill.
Right. So usually sheep or goats, when you keep them, when you are domesticating them, you don't just leave them in your plot of land and just let them roam around. You actually have to herd them and bring them to different areas every day so that they can eat their food, eat their grass. Or else if they stay put, then there will be no more grass. So in our story today, we're talking about sheep. And what is a sheep? Sheep is a four-legged mammal, and usually they are very adorable because when you look at sheep, they look like a cloud with four legs. And usually a male sheep, they will have horns. And the coat that the sheep will grow, the farmers will shave them and they will be used to make different types of material.
Okay, so he needs to bring the sheep to the top of the hill. A hill is a piece of land that rises up above the rest of the land around it, but it is not as tall as what we would call a mountain. So usually from the base of the hill, you can see the top of the hill. It's not that far away. Continuing on, there they ate grass and the boy watched them.
Okay, so the boy who works for the shepherd has herded the group of sheep up the hill to eat grass. Okay, so grass is what the sheep, they eat every day. And what grass is of course the green things that we see on the ground when we're at the park or when we go outdoors. We see these little vegetation that grow from the ground, and there's different types of grass. So of course, in this case, this is what the sheep, they like to eat. All right, so let's find out what happens at the top of the hill after the break.
Before the boy went to work, the shepherd told him something. He said,
"There are wolves around. When you see one, call for help. The villagers and I will come and drive it away."
The boy did his job every day. The days were long and nothing really happened. Soon, he found the job to be pretty boring.
Welcome back. Before the break, we learned about the young boy who works for the shepherd, and he helped the shepherd herd his sheep up the hill to eat grass. Okay, here I want to remind everybody that the word sheep, the plural form is still sheep. So you never add an S at the end when you're talking about a lot of sheep, okay? So it's still sheep. All right, so let's continue with our story.
Before the boy went to work, the shepherd told him something. He said, "There are wolves around. When you see one, call for help. The villagers and I will come and drive it away."
Ooh, okay, so we're already getting our first warning. The shepherd is letting the boy know that there might be danger out there. There might be a wolf.
Right, there are wolves in the area,
Okay.
but it's not too much of a problem because he just says, call out, and everyone, the villagers, meaning the people who live in the village, and the shepherd will come to help.
Okay, they will come and help drive it away. Okay, so when you're driving something away, you're not actually getting on the wolf and driving away. No, when you're driving something away is usually something that is unwanted, something that people don't want around, and you're forcing this thing to go away, or you're forcing this not really asking, you're saying, get out of here. You're pushing it away, or maybe you have a whole group of, in this case, a whole group of villagers coming to scare something away. So you're forcing something that is not wanted to leave the area. Okay, let's continue. The boy did his job every day. The days were long and nothing really happened. Soon, he found the job to be pretty boring.
Okay, yeah, I think just sitting there and watching sheep, I think sometimes when you can't sleep, people tell you just to count sheep. So I think if you're standing there watching sheep all day, you're going to get tired.
Yeah, and he's alone up there in the hill.
All right, so it is pretty boring. So pretty is a word which I think I use a lot, and it doesn't mean, someone is attractive or good looking in this case, because this is the adverb, which we mean to use something is quite, or to some high degree is something. So if I say it's pretty boring, it means it's quite boring, but not extremely boring.
Right.
Just a high level, but not too much. So I can say something's pretty good, means it's good. It's not amazing, but it's good.
Yeah. Or I went on a hike and it was pretty tiring, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too tiring. That's right.
It means it wasn't to the extent that it's too much or to an extreme amount. So we use this quite a lot because, it's pretty easy to use. And I think you'll hear this more often than like very or quite. People tend to use pretty.
Well, I think the story is getting pretty interesting.
It certainly is. But we're going to have to wait until part 2 to find out what happens next.
In a small village, there lived a young boy. His job was to take the shepherd's sheep up the hill. There they ate grass, and the boy watched them. Before the boy went to work, the shepherd told him something. He said,
"There are wolves around. When you see one, call for help. The villagers and I will come and drive it away."
The boy did his job every day. The days were long and nothing really happened. Soon, he found the job to be pretty boring.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 cry 动词叫喊、哭泣。我们先来看看当作叫喊这个意思的例句。Mary cried, help, but no one heard her. Mary 大喊救命啊，但是没有人听见。我们再来看看当作哭泣这个意思的例句。Sarah cried when she watched that movie. Sarah 看那部电影时哭了。下一个单字 sheep 名词绵羊，单数跟复数同形。There are lots of sheep on the farm. 农场里有许多绵羊。下一个单字 hill 名词山丘。We climbed up the hill to see the sunset. 我们爬上山丘看日落。Sunset 就是日落。最后一个单字 grass 名词牧草草。The cows are eating grass in the field. 牛群正在田里吃草。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 call for help 大声呼救，寻求帮助。Call for 的意思是呼求、要求，这是一个不可以分开的动词片语。Help 在这里是一个名词的用法。我们来看看这个例句。When Danny fell into the river, he called for help. 当 Danny 掉进河里时，他大声呼救。下一个文法 drive away 赶走。Drive 的三态是 drive, drove, driven. Drive 是驱赶的意思。我们来看看这个例句。The noise drove away the birds. 噪音把小鸟赶走了。最后一个文法。He found the job to be pretty boring. 他觉得这份工作相当无趣。这个句型是 A finds B to be 加形容词，意思是 A 觉得 B 怎么样。To be 可以省略。Boring 的意思是无聊的、无趣的。我们来看看这个例句。Joe found this movie to be interesting. Joe 觉得这部电影很有趣。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，我们下一课再见喽，拜拜。
Here you go.
Oh, seriously?
What's wrong, Shane?
This project is such a pain in the neck. As soon as I solve one problem, another problem pops up.
A pain in the neck? Did you injure yourself? Did you hurt yourself? Did you hurt your neck?
No, my neck is fine. A pain in the neck just means something is very troublesome or very annoying.
Oh, so kind of like that time our copier just kept on jamming and it was a pain in the neck for everyone.
Exactly, you got it. That's just what it means.
Oh.
Hi everyone, today's idiom is a pain in the neck.
Yes, and it doesn't always mean you're physically hurt.
Definitely not. The phrase a pain in the neck is used when someone or something is very annoying or bothersome.
Yes, you can use it in a sentence like, my younger brother is such a pain in the neck. He always messes up my room.
Or you could say, this new software is a real pain in the neck. It's so complicated to use.
So next time you find something irritating or troublesome, you can say it's a pain in the neck.
And remember, try not to be a pain in the neck to others. It's always nice to be considerate.
That's all for today. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.